First contact. Maya Chen stood with her back against the curved wall of the observation deck, watching the alien crew of the synchronized harmony work. At just over 5'7", she towered over most of the Lyresi, whose blue-green forms rarely exceeded 4 feet in height. The ship's captain, Admiral Zeltav, stood at the center of the deck, his neck frills extended in what Maya had learned indicated deep concentration. Specialist Chen, your analysis of the anomaly. Zeltav's voice was melodic, typical of his species' speech patterns. Maya stepped forward, acutely aware she was the only human aboard the diplomatic vessel. 6 months ago, humanity had finally been granted provisional membership in the Galactic Concordat, a coalition of 17 spacefaring species. The Lyresi had been humanity's strongest advocate, impressed by their resilience and innovative thinking. As part of the exchange program, Maya, an exoplanetary geologist, had been assigned to the Harmony. The anomaly doesn't match any known natural phenomenon in our database, Maya said, projecting the data onto the central holographic display. It's absorbing radiation across the entire electromagnetic spectrum, but emitting only in narrow bands of gamma radiation. The Taraxians, insectoid beings serving as the ship's primary science team, clicked their mandibles in disapproval. "We have already established this," said Chief Scientist Vexrath. "Your human observational capabilities add nothing to our understanding." Maya ignored the slight. 6 months among aliens had taught her to pick her battles. "With respect, I believe there's a pattern to the gamma emissions that your systems aren't configured to detect." The observation deck fell silent. The Concordat species prided themselves on their advanced technology, particularly their sensing equipment. Suggesting their systems had missed something was practically a diplomatic incident. Admiral Zeltav's neck frills flattened against his slender neck. "Explain." Maya manipulated the holographic display, highlighting a sequence of emission spikes. "These aren't random. There's a mathematical progression here, prime numbers, specifically. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, continuing up to 89 before repeating." Vexrath's compound eyes gleamed with skepticism. "And what significance do you assign to this pattern, human?" "It's artificial," Maya said simply. "Natural phenomena don't emit radiation in sequences of prime numbers. Something, or someone, is generating this anomaly." The revelation sent ripples of vibration through the deck as the Lyresi communicated through their sensory appendages. The Taraxians' wing casings fluttered nervously. "Impossible," declared Vexrath. "Our systems would have detected signs of technology." "Not if it's using principles we don't understand," Maya countered. "Humanity encountered a similar situation when we first detected pulsars. We thought they might be artificial beacons before understanding their natural origin. In this case, I think the reverse is true. What appears natural is actually artificial." Admiral Zeltav raised a 4-fingered hand, silencing the growing murmurs. "If Specialist Chen is correct, we may be facing a first contact scenario with an unknown species. Or," his voice dropped to a lower register, "a weapon." The mention of a weapon heightened the tension. The Concordat had emerged from a devastating interstellar conflict centuries ago, and memories of that war still influenced their cautious approach to unexplained phenomena. "Permission to conduct a closer investigation?" Maya asked. Vexrath chittered in alarm. "Absolutely not. The radiation levels alone make proximity dangerous, especially for a fragile human physiology." Maya bristled at the description, but kept her focus on the Admiral. "My species evolved under high radiation conditions compared to many Concordat worlds. I can withstand a brief exposure, and I believe I can establish communication if this is indeed an artificial construct." After a tense discussion among the ship's council, they agreed to Maya's proposal with modifications. She would pilot a shielded probe to the anomaly's perimeter rather than approaching personally. The decision disappointed her, but was better than nothing. Hours later, as the probe neared the swirling darkness of the anomaly, Maya noticed something the ship's sensors had missed: a rhythmic fluctuation in the boundary layer. The anomaly is breathing, she reported, watching the subtle expansion and contraction. Impossible, Vexrath responded predictably. Cosmic phenomena do not respire. It's a metaphor, Maya explained, but the boundary is expanding and contracting in a regular cycle that matches biological patterns more than physical ones. She directed the probe to synchronize with this rhythm, pushing forward during each expansion phase. As it penetrated the outer layer, the probe's sensors detected something extraordinary, a pocket of habitable space within the anomaly, protected from the surrounding radiation. And within that pocket, structures, artificial constructions of impossible geometry floating in formation. A space station, or perhaps a fleet of vessels, unlike anything in Concordat records. We need to attempt communication, Maya insisted. Withdraw the probe immediately, countered Vexrath. This could be a threat to. The transmission cut off as the anomaly suddenly expanded, engulfing the probe and sending a pulse of energy toward the synchronized harmony. The ship's systems flickered, and the holographic display dissolved into static. When the systems recovered, a message appeared, not in any Concordat language, but in English. We recognize the human biopatern. After millennia, the children have reached the sisters. We await your arrival. DEC and Dant. All eyes turned to Maya, who stood staring at the message, her pulse racing with equal parts excitement and fear. Whatever waited inside the anomaly had specifically recognized her humanity, and seemed to have been waiting for it. It appears, Admiral Zeltev said slowly, his neck frills now fully extended in alarm, that Specialist Chen's human perspective has revealed something significant indeed. As the implications settled over the observation deck, Maya felt the weight of 17 alien species' attention focused entirely on her. For better or worse, humanity's role in the Concordat had just become far more complicated and essential than anyone had anticipated. The Admiral's final words hung in the air as they contemplated their next move. It seems the anomaly was not reaching for us at all. It was reaching for you, Specialist Chen. For humanity, the human solution. Absolutely not, Captain Zeltev declared, his neck frills rigid with determination. No Concordat protocol permits sending a lone representative into an unknown anomaly, especially our only human specialist. Maya paced the conference chamber, frustration evident in every step. 3 days had passed since the anomaly had specifically requested human contact, and the Concordat leadership was still debating their response. Meanwhile, the anomaly had grown, now threatening the Proxima system with its 7 inhabited planets. With respect, Admiral, Maya said, we don't have time for protocols. The anomaly's expansion rate has increased by 27% in the last 12 hours. If we don't act, millions of lives could be lost. The Tyraxian scientist Vexrath made a dismissive gesture with his upper limbs. Your human tendency toward reckless action is precisely why we must adhere to established procedures. Security Chief Kull, a massive Vorathi, whose crystalline skin refracted light in shimmering patterns, rumbled his disagreement. The human's assessment of the threat timeline is accurate. Conventional methods will prove too slow. Maya appreciated the support from the unexpected quarter. The Vorathi were renowned warriors, practical and direct, while the Tyraxians processed information collectively and preferred exhaustive analysis. The Vorathi valued decisive action. I have a proposal, Maya said, pulling up schematics on the holodisplay. A modified one-person craft with enhanced shielding. I can pilot it into the anomaly, establish contact, and potentially negotiate a resolution. Suicidal, hissed Vexrath. Potentially effective, countered Kal. Admiral Zeltev studied the plans, his neck frills undulating in thought. Why you, Specialist Chen? What makes a human more suitable than our experienced diplomats? Maya had anticipated this question. 3 reasons. First, the anomaly specifically requested human contact. Second, my species evolved on a highly radioactive planet compared to yours. I can withstand exposure that would kill most concordat species. And third, she paused, choosing her words carefully. Humans are adaptable in ways specialized species aren't. This last point triggered a wave of vibrations among the Lyresi. In concordat philosophy, specialization was considered the pinnacle of evolution. Each member species had evolved specific adaptations that made them masters of their ecological niche. Humans, by contrast, were viewed as primitive generalists, jack of all trades, masters of none. Elaborate, requested Admiral Zeltav. Concordat species evolved to excel in specific environments. Maya explained. The Taraxian's compound vision is unmatched for pattern recognition. The Vorathi crystalline physiology provides natural radiation protection. The Lyresi sensory appendages detect electrical fields imperceptible to others. But when faced with completely novel situations, specialization becomes a limitation. She gestured to herself. Humans never specialized. We remained adaptable, able to improvise and function across varied environments. We're not the best at anything, but we can do almost everything. And right now, adaptability is what we need. Silence fell over the conference chamber as her words sank in. Then Security Chief Cal stood, towering over the assembly. I will accompany the human, he announced. Maya blinked in surprise. The message specifically asked for humans, yes. Cal interrupted, but it did not forbid others. My crystalline physiology provides natural radiation protection that will complement your adaptability. After hours of further debate, a compromise was reached. Maya would lead the mission in a specially modified craft, with Cal as her second and a communication link to the synchronized harmony. The mission would launch in 6 hours, the maximum delay the expanding anomaly would allow. As Maya prepared the craft, running through pre-launch checks, Vexrath approached. The Taraxian scientist seemed uncomfortable away from his collective. Specialist Chen, he began formally, I have analyzed your proposal from 73 different angles. While I still calculate a high probability of failure, I acknowledge the unconventional reasoning behind your approach. Coming from Vexrath, this was practically effusive praise. Maya nodded in acknowledgement. Thank you, Chief Scientist. I have added a specialized sensor array to your craft, he continued, indicating a crystalline apparatus now integrated into the console. It will transmit data even if standard communications fail. That's unexpectedly thoughtful, Maya said, genuinely surprised. The Taraxian's mandibles clicked in what might have been embarrassment. The data will be valuable regardless of mission outcome. Of course, Maya said, suppressing a smile. Even Vexrath's gesture of support had to be framed in terms of scientific utility. Security Chief Cal arrived as Vexrath departed, ducking his massive frame through the craft's entrance. The human appears amused, he observed. Just appreciating cross-species cooperation, Maya replied, securing the final launch preparations. Are you ready? Cal settled his crystalline bulk into the reinforced co-pilot seat. I have recorded my final statements and arranged for the distribution of my accumulated resources should we not return. On Earth, we just say ready and hope for the best, Maya said dryly. Inefficient, Cal commented, but I am ready. The launch proceeded smoothly, their craft detaching from the synchronized harmony and accelerating toward the pulsating boundary of the anomaly. As they approached, Maya observed the same breathing pattern she'd noted before, timing their approach to coincide with an expansion phase. Entering in 3, 2, 1. The craft shuddered as they crossed the boundary, systems momentarily failing before reactivating. When they stabilized, Maya gasped at the view beyond their viewport. Inside the anomaly existed an entire ecosystem, not of planets and stars, but of vast geometric structures interconnected by filaments of energy. Some resembled cities suspended in space, others more organic forms flowing and changing. At the center floated a massive spherical construction that pulsed with the same prime number sequence Maya had identified. Magnificent, Cal murmured, his crystalline features reflecting the kaleidoscopic energies surrounding them. Communications with the Harmony have been severed, Maya noted, checking their systems. Vexrath's sensor array is still transmitting, though. Before they could decide on their next move, their craft began moving on its own, pulled toward the central sphere by an invisible force. Maya tried the controls, but they responded sluggishly. "We're being brought in," she reported, fighting down a surge of panic. This was first contact with an unknown intelligence, potentially humanity's most significant moment since joining the Concordat. As they neared the central sphere, a voice filled their craft, not through their communication systems, but directly in their minds. Human DTECTED, genetic sequence E2GOGANFIRMED. Welcome, DEC and DENT. Maya exchanged glances with Cal. The Vorathy's crystalline features had shifted to a deep blue, indicating concern. "I am Maya Chen of Earth, representing the Galactic Concordat," she responded aloud. "We've come to understand your purpose and request that you halt your expansion, which threatens inhabited systems. Purpose is unchanged since Sei Diang. Expansion is NCSSARI, or AWAKEning. Seeding. Awakening." Maya questioned. "I don't understand." "You while." Their craft was enveloped in a field of energy, and Maya felt her consciousness expand beyond her physical form. Images and concepts flooded her mind. Ancient race that had explored the galaxy millions of years before, discovering a universe hostile to conscious life. They had created the anomaly as both refuge and incubator, seeding primitive worlds with genetic material designed to eventually evolve into intelligent species that could inherit their legacy. "You created humans?" Maya asked in disbelief. "Guided evolution. All species of DTHE concordate were cis-EEDDD, but humans remained CLOCST to original design. Adaptable, curious, resilient." The realization was staggering. The Concordat species, for all their specialization and advancement, had diverged from the Creator's intent. Humanity, considered primitive by Concordat standards, had actually remained truest to the original template. "The expansion threatens those you seeded," Maya argued. "If you don't stop, you'll destroy what you created." There was a pause, as if the intelligence was considering this perspective. "Expansion can be or CTED, but awakening requires integration. A mind must bridge." Cal shifted forward. "What does this mean, human?" Maya understood with sudden clarity. "It needs a consciousness to help it adjust to our reality, to awaken fully without destroying existing life." "A sacrifice," Cal stated bluntly. Maya's mind raced through possibilities, her human adaptability searching for alternatives. "Not necessarily. What if we created an artificial interface instead? A technological bridge rather than a biological one?" The presence in their minds seemed to pause, considering. "Unanticipated evolution. Human creativity. Co-environment. POSIBILITYHCCPT'd." As the energy field around their craft intensified, Maya realized they had just changed the course of galactic history. The human capacity for finding third options, for reaching beyond established patterns, had offered a solution no Concordat species would have considered. And as she worked with the ancient intelligence to design a technological interface, using Vexrath's sensor array as a starting point, Maya understood why humanity had been granted a place in the Concordat despite their primitive status. Sometimes, not being specialized was the greatest specialization of all. Legacy. Structural integrity at 43% and falling, Cal reported, his crystalline form now pulsing with stress fractures. "The interface is consuming more power than anticipated." Maya's fingers flew across the reconfigured controls of their craft, now the central nexus of the technological bridge they were building. 3 days had passed since they'd entered the anomaly. Days filled with feverish work as they constructed the artificial interface the ancient intelligence had agreed to use instead of a biological mind. Time flowed differently here. Maya estimated that outside, in normal space, barely hours had passed. The synchronized harmony would still be waiting, unaware of what they had discovered or the solution they were implementing. "We need more processing capacity," Maya muttered, wiping sweat from her forehead. Unlike Cal, whose crystalline physiology allowed him to function in extreme conditions, Maya was reaching her biological limits. She hadn't slept in what felt like days, surviving on emergency rations and determination. "The craft cannot provide it," Cal stated. "We must abort before structural collapse." "No," Maya snapped, then softened her tone. "No, we're too close. If we leave now, the anomaly will continue expanding. Millions will die." The ancient intelligence, which they had come to call the Architect, manifested as patterns of light throughout their craft. Its communication had become more nuanced as it learned from them. "Your vessel will fail before completion. Alternative resources required." Maya stared at the makeshift interface they'd constructed, a hybrid of Concordat technology and the energy matrices the Architect used. An idea formed in her mind, dangerous and uncertain. "What about the synchronized harmony?" she suggested. "Its computational systems are orders of magnitude more powerful than our craft." Cal's crystalline surface shifted to a warning red. "You propose linking the anomaly directly to our capital ship. The risk is unacceptable." "The alternative is certain failure," Maya countered. "We need to reestablish communication with the harmony and coordinate an interface expansion." The Architect's lights pulsed in what Maya had learned indicated consideration. "Possible. Require human direction. For safe connection." Which meant Maya would need to physically connect their systems, a dangerous procedure given the energies involved. But it was their only chance. With Cal's reluctant assistance, they reconfigured their failing craft's communication array, boosting it with energy the Architect provided. When they finally established contact with the synchronized harmony, Admiral Zeltav's image appeared, neck frills fully extended in alarm. "Specialist Chen, we've given you up for lost. The anomaly has stabilized but shows signs of imminent catastrophic expansion. You must return immediately." "Admiral, listen carefully," Maya said, fighting exhaustion. "We've made contact with the intelligence controlling the anomaly, an ancient species that preceded all Concordat civilizations. They're trying to reawaken, but need our help to do it safely." She quickly explained their plan to create a technological interface using the Harmony's computational systems. As expected, both Admiral Zeltav and Vexrath, who had joined the transmission, expressed serious concerns. "What you propose risks the synchronized harmony and potentially the entire Concordat," Vexrath chittered. "If we do nothing, the anomaly will expand uncontrollably," Maya countered. "The Architect, the intelligence, has agreed to this compromise, but our craft can't complete the interface alone." What followed was the most intense diplomatic negotiation of Maya's career, conducted while their craft's systems failed around them. Finally, after Maya had addressed 79 distinct objections, Admiral Zeltev made his decision. "Proceed, Specialist Chen. The Harmony will approach to minimum safe distance and prepare to receive your transmission." For the next several hours, Maya coordinated between their craft, the Architect, and the Harmony systems, creating a distributed interface that would allow the ancient intelligence to awaken without catastrophic expansion. Cal's crystalline physiology proved crucial. His body could physically conduct energies that would have killed Maya instantly, forming a living conduit between systems. As they neared completion, a power surge ripped through their craft, shattering consoles and rupturing coolant systems. Maya was thrown against a bulkhead, feeling ribs crack on impact. Emergency lights bathed the cabin in crimson as toxic coolant began venting. "Helmet," Call barked, tossing Maya her emergency breather. She caught it with shaking hands, securing it over her face just as the cabin atmosphere turned lethal. Interface at 97%. Maya gasped through the mask, dragging herself back to the damaged console. "We just need to stabilize the final connections." But the controls had been destroyed in the surge. Without them, the interface would collapse, and the anomaly would expand uncontrollably. Cal assessed the situation with battlefield clarity. "The connections must be made manually. My crystalline structure can withstand the energies long enough to complete the task." "You'll be killed," Maya protested. "Probable," Cal agreed, "but necessary." Before Maya could argue further, alarms blared as the architect's presence intensified around them. DTTT-done. Concordat Fleet approaching. Military configuration. Threat ASC assessment. Maximum. Maya checked their long-range sensors in horror. A Concordat defense fleet had arrived, evidently dispatched when the anomaly first threatened the Proxima system. Without understanding what Maya and Call had accomplished, they were preparing to attack. "No, no, no," Maya whispered. "Admiral, are you seeing this? You need to call off the attack." Admiral Zeltav's transmission was fragmented with interference. "Trying. Override codes rejected. Autonomous defense protocols." The defense fleet had been authorized to act independently if they determined an existential threat. With communications compromised, they couldn't receive the stand-down order. Maya made a split-second decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Architect, can you extend your consciousness through the partial interface, just enough to communicate with the fleet?" "Dangerous. Premature awakening risks. Anstability. More dangerous than being attacked by a Concordat battle group," Maya challenged. "We need to show them you're not a threat." The architect's lights pulsed rapidly. "Attempted POSIDal. REQY Aries FOQS. What communication would co-inviancy?" Maya thought frantically. What could possibly stop a battle fleet programmed to eliminate existential threats? They needed something so unexpected, so contrary to their threat assessment, that it would force them to reevaluate. "Show them beauty," she said suddenly. "Not power or technology. Beauty. Create something they cannot possibly perceive as threatening." Call regarded her with what might have been admiration, his crystalline features shifting to an unprecedented color pattern. A human solution indeed. The architect extended its consciousness through their fragile, incomplete interface. The space around the anomaly transformed as vast, intricate patterns of light blossomed outward, not weapons or shields, but a display of cosmic artistry. The patterns formed and reformed, each more complex and beautiful than the last, incorporating mathematical symmetries that spoke of intelligence and creation rather than destruction. On their sensors, Maya saw the Concordat fleet slow its approach. "It's working," she breathed. "They're reassessing." But their craft was failing rapidly now, the coolant leak accelerating. Maya's vision began to blur from toxic exposure despite her breather. With her remaining strength, she turned to Call. "We need to complete the interface." Call nodded. "I will make the final connections. You must return to the shuttle bay. The craft can still reach the Harmony on autopilot." "I'm not leaving you," Maya insisted. "You must," Call replied. "Someone must explain what we have learned, what humanity has contributed. The Concordat must understand that your species' place among us is not charity, but necessity." Before Maya could protest further, Call physically lifted her, carrying her to the shuttle bay, despite her weakened resistance. As he placed her in the emergency escape pod, he said something that would stay with her forever. "Humans reach where others cannot. Today, you reached understanding with an intelligence older than our civilizations. You found a third path where we saw only conflict. The Vorathi have a saying, 'The greatest warrior is one who need not fight.' Today, you were that warrior." With that, he sealed the pod and ejected it toward the synchronized harmony, returning to complete the interface alone. Maya watched through the pod's viewport as Kal physically connected himself to the interface, becoming a living conduit for energies that would ultimately consume him. The display of cosmic artistry intensified, and she saw the Concordat fleet power down its weapon systems. As her pod was retrieved by the Harmony, Maya lost consciousness. She awoke days later in the medical bay, surrounded by representatives from every Concordat species aboard. Admiral Zeltev stood at the foot of her bed, neck frills arranged in the pattern that indicated profound respect. Specialist Chen, you have accomplished something unprecedented in Concordat history. Maya tried to sit up, wincing at her injured ribs. Call. The Admiral's frills drooped slightly. Security Chief Call did not survive. But his sacrifice enabled the successful interface. The anomaly, the architect, has awakened and withdrawn to a stable configuration in uninhabited space. It has requested ongoing communication, specifically with humanity. The implications weren't lost on anyone in the room. Humanity, the newest and least advanced member of the Concordat, had just become its most important diplomatic representative to an intelligence that predated their combined civilizations. There is more, Vexrath added, his usual dismissive tone entirely absent. The architect has shared technological insights that confirm what was previously merely speculation. All Concordat species, including humans, share certain genetic markers. We were indeed seeded by the same precursor race, which makes us all distant cousins, Maya said, a smile forming despite her pain. A simplification, Vexrath replied, but essentially correct. In the months that followed, as Maya recovered and the Concordat established formal relations with the architect, humanity's status underwent a profound transformation. No longer viewed as primitive generalists, humans became recognized as vital intermediaries, beings whose adaptability and creativity complemented the specialized excellence of other Concordat species. The architect had sought to awaken fully into a galaxy of diverse intelligence, to share the legacy of its creators with worthy inheritors. In humanity, it had found a species that embodied the principles its creators had valued most: the ability to reach beyond established patterns, to find third options where others saw only binary choices, to create connection where division seemed inevitable. When Maya finally returned to Earth, she brought with her not just technological insights from the architect, but a new understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. They were not late arrivals to an established galactic community, but essential participants whose unique qualities completed a puzzle millions of years in the making. As she stepped onto Earth soil for the first time in over a year, Maya looked up at the stars, knowing the architect was out there, watching and waiting for humanity to reach even further. And reach they would.